Okay. Too small.
Good, good. You should drop by sometime, including tomorrow if you can. We're gonna keep doing that for the foreseeable future, I suppose. Yeah, great. You have a lot of students coming? Last Saturday we had three. I think the most I ever had was four. The fewest is one. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm expecting two. I'm expecting two because I know one can't be there and another one usually isn't. So hopefully the two men.
But the children, you would not bother you much, right? They play
Oh no,
the drum, the dragon dance down basement. You hear anything noise?
Not all the way there. No.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's quiet. That's good then.
Yeah.
This.
Desire and its cessation. The second noble truth states that the cause of suffering is desire. The term used is trishna, which is literally thirst. And this usefully implies that all human beings yearn for food in excess of biological need, possessions, power, and sex. The Buddha argued that all the world's troubles are rooted in desire. Like an addictive narcotic, desire warps our minds and distorts our understanding, leading us to act in desire-driven ways that ensure the continuation of our own suffering and inevitable rebirth in samsara. In the early Buddhist texts, samsara is likened to a river in flood, sweeping away humanity to misery, death, and rebirth.
Yes, okay, stop.
Okay. One of the main teachings of the Buddha, the second noble truth, that suffering is directly caused by our various thirsting, craving, desiring for more stuff than we need, basically.
So we discussed about the difference between the need and the want, right? You know, right? Yeah.
That's my unit in kindergarten.
Oh, you teach them? Oh, okay. You teach them the need and the want, the want. They understand?
Yes.
Oh, really? They're smart then. Wow.
That's an age where they kind of understand, like, you have to have it or you will die, or you just really, really would like to have it, you won't die when you don't get that toy. I promise, you will not die.
Oh, wow. So the age around 5 and 6. Wow, that's so smart. They could understand that kind of concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. This is a bit, let me show you. Let me see here. I find out the video clip. I forgot which one. It's funny clip, but let's see here. That's okay. We can do the next one there. All right. Yeah, Mr. Listen, please. Oh, one more thing. Yeah. How about the last sentence then? It says that samsara is likened to a river in flood, sweeping away humanity to misery, death, and rebirth. What does it mean then?
Oh, well, I know what it means. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it because it's already like in a metaphor. But I guess samsara, it overwhelms us and carries us away to all these bad outcomes because of our craving. We get overwhelmed and get carried away to all these bad outcomes.
So how about other people say, well, that's why we strive for living, right? With that type of wants, right? We want to be better. Is that different from the design?
Yeah, I've heard that, like the wholesome desires, like the desire to cultivate like morality
Mm-hmm.
is not considered the same as like these like other kinds of desires.
I've heard it like distinguished that wholesome desire is more like is aspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So the Buddha's teaching always encourages you to go further, to see the truth more, to take a step further, but it's not dependent on any sort of outcome. Where desire, you know, I want a new job, I want a nicer house, that's attachment, because you've got some sort of outcome based. And then it's also something that's impermanent, that's gonna come and go, supposedly noble wealth and spiritual attainments help carry on your next life.
Yeah, but somehow other goals and that's motivate people to do business, right? Throughout the work, you need to have the kind of motivation, right? You may like to have a bonus at the end of the year. So, what is different then? Without that kind of motivation, you cannot do anything. Especially this country, capitalist country. So without motivation, how can we work then?
Well, I think if you're applying the eightfold path, you're to whatever job it is you have and whatever things you do, you're already looking to do things ethically. So if you're motivated ethically, okay, well, I am responsible for these bills, and so then I have this job and I'm gonna apply right effort, right concentration, I'm gonna, you know, try to keep my right view. Inherently also leads you to take, now it certainly, the Buddhist path doesn't encourage you to become rich or all that. It doesn't discourage it, but like if you're holding on to becoming rich, then you're gonna cause yourself some suffering. But if you can be content in every moment at whatever your external, you know, then you're really applying the Buddhist path, whether you're poor or rich or.
Without stipend, you will not work much, right? You got a lot of stipend today, right? A lot of tip today, right? How many people did you serve today? 100? How many people you serve today from morning to the day that you left? More than a couple hundred people? What's that? 26? Huh? 400 people? Wow, that's a lot. Oh.
You're gonna sleep well.
Wow, that's nice. Understand.
I was just gonna say, like, I think the difference is grasping and hanging on to it.
That's a point.
Yeah, like I have a desire for my children to do well and do better than I did,
Yeah.
but I'm not grasping on to like them going to
That's the
certain
point.
college.
Yeah,
That's the point. Let's go aspiration, not desire, not wanted, aspiration.
Yeah, I was thinking about some of the Prajnaparamita sutras where it talks about how you cultivate the good behaviors and everything, but you're not attached to the outcome. Like you do good things, but it's not out of desire. You don't like if you do like charity or generosity for other people, you don't care if you even get good karma, you don't care what happens after it, you just do the good thing because it's a good thing to do and you know it's a good thing to do. So yeah, you're not attached to the outcome. You're just like, I'm gonna do what's wise, what's good and wholesome. And it's not even really about like desire. Like if you like, yeah, you shouldn't be focused on the attainment of anything. Even good things necessarily, but not be attached to it. Because if you're attached to it, that kind of like stops you from getting it, if I understand right.
Mhm. So, and Stephen, what happened if at the company they don't provide kind of bonus at the end of the year? What do you think?
I never really, complained about it too much. I mean, things happen, but things happen for a reason. So that's why I myself don't ever strive to say, the only reason why I'm coming home into work is just so I can get that bonus. If I get it, that's great. If I don't, I don't. So I just, as long as everything is done properly. So more fuck.
Hi Ben, how you been, Ben? Can you hear Ben? No.
You can't, I guess.
Cannot hear. Huh? Oh. Can you hear Ben? No. Okay, I have this funny video clip that I student. Okay, yeah. No, funny. Wait, funny. Can you see too small? Oh, hold on, let me get the link then. Let me get the link to the bigger one here. Better. That's funny. Yeah. That's a funny one. Okay. Yeah, my student, they love that. Yeah. Ben, can you hear Ben?
Yeah, can you guys hear me now?
Good. Yeah. Yeah, enjoy that clip.
Yeah, that was funny. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So
Karma.
yeah, nothing wrong with aspiration, right? Nothing wrong with our wish to do for others. But the thing is to, if whichever thing we do, if we often have attachment, we get stuck there. Yeah.
I think last week, the young monk told a story, or taught a story about, um, the greedy guy that came, it was the dog that guarded the
Yeah.
temple or
Mhm.
whatever, because, yeah, he was so attached to all his money and stuff like that. Yeah, and then that, I think, came the dog. It was the dog that barked at.
And that's why worship there. That's why we need to pray for them and remind them to take future rebirth, whether in the Buddha land or come back in the human realm. Otherwise, they get stuck, with the populace, the other people. Yeah. Mm. Vivian, have you tried to be at handicap hunting house before?
Yes,
How was that? It's real?
I don't think it's-
You don't feel that?
I mean,
In California, do they have that?
like a ship that's supposed to be haunted, but it was like for Halloween and for fun.
Not for real, huh?
And you
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, in here in Louisville, they have some. Where's that?
And that's real close to here.
Where's that?
It's just right here off of Pages Lane.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
You been there?
Oh, yeah, I've been there. In high school, we used to try to sneak in there, but we're always get caught, But then I had a there and we went to their haunted house, which is super duper fun if you're into that Halloween. They have like great special effects.
Yeah.
But it just there's a lot of documented weird stuff there.
Yeah, we really.
Oh, that's a hospital. So yeah. Well, now they've got, they've got it so you can go in there and take tours and spend a night and stuff.
But it used to be a hospital for consumption,
Yeah.
tuberculosis.
It was a tuberculosis. And so they have, it's up on this beautiful hill, it's really pretty. It's a beautiful big building, but to get the supplies up, there's a big tunnel that goes underground. No. So, yeah, anyway, so they didn't want the patients to see how many dead bodies they were moving out of there, so they call it the death tunnel, so. My God. They were just, and if you watch people try to go through, there's a whole like horror movie.
It's like a chute that they just like.
Yeah.
varnish
It's
it.
not like a actual tunnel, it's kind of like.
Oh, no, it's a big long.
Like a slide.
Well, there's a body chute, yeah.
There's a chute that goes through the tunnel, I think, right?
Yeah.
And if you have a.
Well,
Or the dead one is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hungry ghosts there, for sure.
Yeah, I believe in ghosts. I've never seen a ghost. When I was a teenager, me and my goofy teenage friends would go to places around our area that was supposed to be haunted. We never saw any ghosts. We saw bats, but no ghosts. But I believe in ghosts. I've never seen one. I have had other spiritual things happen, but not ghosts.
When I was a kid, there's this big mansion down on Axton Lane out there in Goshen area. It's down there on the river. It's Civil War era. They had slaves there. There was anyway, so there was me, myself, and these three boys that I kind of grew up with, and there's this old elevator in the house, like the mother of this family was convinced this house was super haunted. Just because there was a lot of history of like what happened there. But anyway, so we were playing in the elevator. And we're all packed in there alone. And then all of a sudden, of course, it gets stuck.
An elevator.
Yeah, well, it's just like one of those little old fashioned ones, with the cages in it, and we're all mashed in there. And somehow there's a chair like right under it. I don't know.
Stop it.
Yeah, it stopped it. I mean, we would put on football helmets. Like baseball bats to go in the basement.
Yeah, so the idea that they get stuck there, they are tied to the place that they
I
cannot.
remember, I never saw a ghost, but I heard actually two occasions, definitely one, but maybe the other, when I worked at UK Hospital. When I worked at the radiology, it used to be pediatrics. Anyway, I was by myself working like a 14-hour shift in like the middle of the night, no one else around. And there was like a voice, it was like this close to my face, it was like right next to my ear. I heard a voice go, "Hey."
Oh, yeah.
I told my coworkers about it the next day, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's Timmy. When it used to be pediatrics, he goofs on people, plays jokes and pranks. He's one of the dead kids that I guess got attached there." Another day, this is the one I'm less sure about. I'm positive about Timmy because my coworkers were even like, "Yeah, that's what happened." This other one might have just been a patient. I was too scared, so I got out of it. One day I was in the basement, and I was like minding my own business, and I was leaving, and I just heard like a horrible wailing, crying sound. Like, "Ah!" And it might have been a living patient or a ghost. I don't know. I got in the elevator and pressed like the close door and just got out of there.
Okay. Okay, can you read the rest, please? With patient, yeah.
Like addiction to narcotic, desire warps our mind and distorts our understanding, leading us to act in desire-driven ways that ensure the continuation of our own suffering and inevitable rebirth in samsara. In early Buddhist texts, samsara is likened to a river in a flood, sweeping away humanity to misery, death, and rebirth. This flood is caused by submitting to desire.
Hmm. Can you
With
read?
the Buddhist teachings likened to the raft that one can take refuge and overcome the current, reaching the other shore or nirvana.
Yeah, stop. Yeah.
So that the way that we perpetuate, like, I don't know, let's say you like to eat sweets at night. I don't know who does that, but. But let's say like eating sweets at night. You give in to eating sweets at night. Well, that perpetuates you like some sort of blood sugar cycle. Right, the next night you really want that sweet. Anyways, so there's that Buddhist teaching of as soon as you feed into that thing, it gives birth to this other thing you have to do again or feed some more. Like there's no like finality once you get that thing. And of course, the more you do it, the more. And so the Buddhist teaching, of course, is to turn away from all of that stuff. Do not get in, do not get fascinated by the good things, do not get fascinated by the bad things. And you won't get swept into like habits, you know, addictions, those things that keep you fed here. It's like, and you know, and you can see too, on like even on a deeper level, like you give into something, some sort of addiction that causes you to do all sorts of, you know, other bad behaviors to support, let's say, that addiction and harm other people. Well, really you're gonna create a pretty rotten life, not only for yourself, but like your next life is potentially gonna be even worse. You know, until you free yourself of that addiction and then those things.
Yeah, many people they think it's so important. It's impossible to let go of desire, right? But we talk about the negative one, and also we need to recognize where we have all kinds of stresses, anxiety, worriness, and so forth. This come from this root, and as we can try our best and accept the outcome, we make peace with others. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if your goal is to ride out the good and the bad, it doesn't matter whether it's the good or the bad, and you're not perpetuating anything
Okay.
further.
Yeah,
So-
so you know the word nirvana? You know the word nirvana? What's about? What's the meaning?
It's when you escape samsara, it's when you achieve ultimate enlightenment.
Yeah, but the practical meaning is that the everlasting peace.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
our life is up and down like the wave. And nirvana, that's when someone attain that state of mind, they have straight line, no emotional fluctuation. Their mind always calms regardless of situation. And that's what they call nirvana. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You like to read next, please?
Sure.
Yeah.
One Pali text argues that desires that its primal power shaped the early evolution of life on Earth. The first things born on Earth, it says, were non-material beings made of mind who enjoyed long and blissful lives. It was only after one of them tasted a sweet substance covering the earth that this being became consumed by desire and craved more of the substance. The others soon followed this example, and immediately their radiance disappeared. Their bodies became solid, and plants and other edible life forms appeared. Eventually, desire grew so powerful that gender divided the creatures. They initiated sex, and then theft, lying, and other harmful actions appeared, all leading to the world as we know it. You showed us that.
What's that?
You showed us that. You showed us that text of their reference.
This is,
The origin story of.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a Buddhist view. Is it logical? What do you think? Does it make sense? Logical?
I'm not sure if it would be 100% literal, or maybe like a mix of literal and metaphorical.
Hmm.
I don't know the text though. I've not read it. I would like to. Like it understand.
Yeah, what do you think?
Sometimes I wonder if there's radiant beings now that we can't see or sense.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would say.
Yeah.
But it makes sense and it's sad.
You know, the more we attach, the more we stuck, right? Yeah.
I mean, would you say those radiant beings that they exist right now are in your mind?
What's that?
Would you say that's the radiant beings?
No, no, they even the slightest attachment we stuck here. Yeah, when we talk about nirvana, the one that transform that kind of mentality.
Well, the heavens that are not nirvana, but they're nice places where devas live. They're like radiant beings, right? I think that Buddha, before he was born as a man, he lived in one of those heavens.
Wichita heaven.
Yeah, the Chitta heaven, and then he decided he didn't want to be a radiant being anymore, so he come to Earth to become enlightened.
Actually, all the Buddhas in the past, present, future will be born up there first before they came down, before they come down here. That's just Buddhist
But I think,
tradition.
like ultimate nirvana is like extinguishment of,
Design.
it's
Yeah.
just extinguishment of everything.
No,
there's
the design, because when we don't have any more desire, there's nothing for us to do.
Right, and then, but once you pass away, you're not created anything that
Mhm.
keep, so then it's.
But yeah, But that one is for the Theravada views.
Okay.
In the Mahayana view, no, they don't stop with that. Just go another level is a Bodhisattva path to become Buddha, not Nirvana. When you have that kind of everlasting peace, you need to step out to help others. It's not for yourself. Yeah, that's why we have Mahayana traditions about the Bodhisattva. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Oh, sorry. Well, what do you think about the story about this one? Is this logical, or what do you think?
I mean, I'm not against it.
Um,
It seems, I mean, you draw a pretty easy parallel to just sort of like what we know about the early universe.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't think I have a real strong opinion one way or the other. Like, it seems plausible.
Well, in the different heavens, like the day was like, you know, where only nirvana is permanent, and like the heavens, like they last, like the day was lived like a really long time, like billions of years or whatever. When they do die, they don't die like a human, they don't get like cancer or whatever. Like it's like described, I think, as their radiance fades away, like these guys.
Yeah. Ben, you follow Ben? Yeah, and Stephen, you follow and Stephen?
Yes, Mopak, I
Yes,
do.
I follow.
Yeah.
I have a bad connection, so I'm just listening tonight.
Mhm. So like, we in this 100 years, right? Somehow we destroy a lot of environment because people extract the oil, nature resources too much. That's we have the global warming and some kind of natural disaster because of this type of exploration. Right. Before we didn't have that type of technology, and now they go to the moon to explore that. Go to Mars to get those material for humans usage. But again, start with that type of that desire. And so Buddhist people, yes, we still have that type of inclination, but in the positive way to bring the goodness to ourselves and others. Yeah, there's nothing wrong to have the inspiration to build the high school, to school, help other people. Yeah.
Tony, who I tutored the other day, he loves space. And he was asking me the other day about like the guys who wanna make a new Earth out of Mars. You've heard about that, right? Like the people, it's like people like Elon Musk who say they're gonna go to Mars and turn Mars into a new world where people can live. And he was asking me if that's possible. I was like, it might be possible. It would be super expensive and take a long time, but it might be possible. But even then, like you make a new world for people to live in on Mars, you're still not gonna escape that everything is temporary. So, like the people who say they're gonna do that to get away from the Earth going extinct, I'm like, well, they'll just eventually go extinct on Mars too, because everything in samsara is impermanent. You can't get away from it. You can't run to another planet and that'll last forever. No, it'll also die. More or less.
Yeah, in Buddhist tradition, this one's future. I said that one guy he has like a power, he could fly, so he fly out of the universe, like the spaceship, and if he flew until he died. That's all.
Yeah.
Because he looked for the place for living forever, but nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The futurists do predict, say that the first person whose consciousness is going to live forever has already been born.
Can't live forever though, because
Your
even
consciousness.
Oh, yeah.
even your consciousness can't. Because
It changing.
if you put it in a robot or a cyborg or whatever, those things will also eventually fall apart. Yeah.
Mm.
It'd be like, is that-
Yeah, everything's gonna be so different, but it's, anyways, it's not my prediction, that's, you know, that's. What the
Okay.
nerds is.
Yeah, please, yeah.
While it may seem that Buddhism's emphasis on suffering and desire implies a certain pessimism about the human condition, the periodic appearance in the world of perfected Buddhas to teach the means to liberation from suffering and desire offers optimism for human potential. Desire receives careful analysis in the early text, since the Buddha taught that the existence of any desire at all will prevent an individual from attaining nirvana. Desire's potential to overpower humans is conveyed in parables. Just like insects attracted to the light of a wick lamp and thereby drawn to their death, humans likewise rush headlong, intent on their cravings, and miss what is worthwhile. Buddhist philosophers identified three main kinds of desire: for sensual pleasures, for rebirth, and for no further rebirth, a subtle form of final craving that must be renounced in the quest for nirvana. They also attract subtle forms of desire, classifying them as arising with sights, sounds, smells, taste, tactile stimuli, and thought. That last one's interesting. Like, I wouldn't not have thought of that you have to give up your desire for nirvana. Like, that's the last desire you have, and you even have to go down on that. That's interesting.
Spirit talk, this is it's impractical. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it fits with everything else because it's because nirvana is the other shore, right? And so it's like I've heard people use this metaphor before. It's like when you get to the other shore, like you don't need the boat anymore.
Mhm.
Like it got you there, but you don't need it anymore. So let go of it. Like why drive in the boat?
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that like that's the
But
last
I
thing.
mean, that is a practical, impractical to let go of everything.
I mean, if that's your goal, yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think it would take a lot.
Of
It's-
energy
it's
and
like-
enough energy and effort, right?
Yeah.
And only when we tire of things, we will let go of them. Otherwise, no way.
One of the sutras I've been studying, that I mentioned earlier, it talks about how, like, if you're a stream enterer, or if you're a person like a once returner, like a person who's not going to be reborn too many times, like the Buddha asked Subhuti, he's like, can these guys think to themselves, oh, I'm a stream enterer, oh, I'm a once returner? And the answer is no, they can't, because if they think that they are that thing, then they're not that thing.
Yeah.
Cause you've heard, I guess, just your ego,
Yeah,
you're just.
Yeah,
you're
'cause-
not speaking from your ego.
yeah, because if you're at that level, you shouldn't have an ego, you shouldn't have thoughts like I am anything.
Yeah.
So here this is the metaphor. It's like insect attract to the light of a wick lamp. We will like that or no? In most of the time. Vivian, what do you think? You understand that, Vivian? Is that like that?
Flies aren't always flying to planes, though. They're flying from that light, which wouldn't really do it either.
They look for the light, right, at night.
I've seen that happen when I was meditating outside with the candle once, so it was a firefly, which was sad because I like those guys, but I guess he saw the fire and he was like, oh, that's a girl or whatever, and he like flew into it and died. Yeah, and what gave me something to meditate about.
Yeah, otherwise, if we don't know how to control, we like them, right? To jump to the fire of the addiction of smoking, drinking, and so forth. It's not easy to get out. So with this kind of age, they're still young, you instill this kind of idea not to get addicted with something else.
Really, at their age, their addictions are screen
Yeah.
screens.
uh,
So tablets and phones and like they're too young to like decide, no, I don't want to play with that. I want to go outside and play because they have to be supervised. So
uh,
they are not in control of their lives yet. So
with high school and college student, right? When in class, they punch the games. When you give a lecture, it's so all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
They get stuck with that game, right?
I think trying to have this conversation with young adults, is really hard because everything in our culture is pushing them toward, especially like the age that I'm working with. Like, you have to make all these decisions to get you in a place to where you can be successful financially or successful in a career. And so that is so much of their focus that like trying to even talk about something else, they're just like, what? That they're, now if they're having issues and they're stressed out, sometimes being able to tell them stuff like that will help. But I think they're so driven a lot of times that it's hard to hear.
The TikTok now.
Oh,
TikTok,
God.
Instagram,
Yeah.
they get all this 1 minute, couple minutes, they stuck in with that type of instant movie, instant
Well,
information.
That dopamine cycle, and it really does, and of course, all the algorithms know exactly how to hook their people's brains into that, and to keep you on the screen longer and stuff like, you know, and especially a kid who's not really self-aware, or a lot of adults really, and don't really understand like how it's manipulating you, and then too, so they're used to having these like brain chemicals of dopamine, this, and then have, and so when you take that away and interrupt that brain cycle, oh my gosh, their brains are just going. So of course, why do you think ADHD is the buzzword right now? Why do you
Yeah.
think everybody says they're suffering from ADHD? Well, guess how your brain was, how you conditioned your brain chemicals to do that for you.
When I was a kid, the cartoons were like 25 minutes. But kids nowadays, they can't even, like, 5 minutes was too long for them. And, like, they need something shorter and then another thing. I'm like, that's wild.
Like well, for my generation, we had to wait all the way to like the weekend to watch
Saturday.
on Saturday, like, you know, and it wasn't like this humongous, it was like maybe a choice of 3 different things.
So you're right, like it's all manipulation, which is like one of the things that's really like concerning is, you know, we realize that like attachment and desire, and like ups and downs are what we need to avoid, but like the whole, consumer, system, like advertising industry and everything, the whole thing is like laser focused on making people want things and telling them if you buy this or buy that, you'll be happy. And, you know, I mean, I feel like it's honestly, it's always been like that to a certain extent in this world, but I feel like in our culture right now, it's like reached like a crazy peak where it's tearing us apart.
Yeah, that's a real problem for even adult, right? It's not easy to get out of this kind of short video from TikTok or YouTube, right? Unless we remember to remind ourselves we need a lot of things to do instead of watching them. Can you read? It's too small.
You know, it's good. Early Buddhists thus recognized the difficulty of following this ideal of ending desire. They sought a path somewhere between the sensuous life of the prince in the palace and the extreme asceticism of his forest-dwelling years. For Buddhists, the body has to sustain life and should be respected. It should be cared for, but not loved. Desire must be eliminated. Yet, without mutilating the body, Buddhists must act, yet cultivate equanimity. So, middle path.
What's the difference between caring and attaching? It's not easy, right? Sometimes the line between caring and loving is blurry, right? We don't know.
goes back to the grasping. You can care and love for something and not want to pull it in and
Mhm.
grip onto it.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Take
Not
it
easy.
from a-
Not easy until we do meditation to calm our mind first. We won't be drawn by something out there. Yeah. Okay. I will this.
The focus on desire in the second noble truth makes plain Buddhism emphasis on renunciation and detachment. The advanced Buddhist lifestyle involves reunification of the everyday world of desire in favor of the monastic community. The Sangha is considered a refuge for just the reason it offers individuals the chance to live simply and to lose their desire. It is also a refuge in the sense that it administers in the name of the Buddha, the quote, good medicine of his Dharma to save humanity. At the advanced stages of practice, the desire to learn the Buddha's teachings and even the desire to attain enlightenment must also be renounced in order to reach the final goal.
Yeah. In both high level therapies, especially in the right position, focus more on the renunciation. They encourage people to live in the temple, become Buddhist monk. Yeah. But it's not easy. Not easy in the West, right? Yeah. So Sam, you understand now, right? I spend half of my week up there, half the week down here, right? Try to balance, try to go middle way. So have more time to do more meditation. Otherwise, I get stuck with all kind of modern thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell them if they can come up and meditate.
Out to the mountain. I've been thinking I want to go up there again soon. Because I've been getting really stressed out with work, honestly.
Yeah. And Stephen, can you read next, please? And Stephen.
Yes, most of it.
Yeah.
For
Yes.
both monks and householders, for 2 millennia, and the idea of human detachment, calm, and compassion had been conveyed by images of the Buddha. A proper image should have each part of the great teacher's body suggest to the viewer the antidote to humanity's deranged thirsting after desired things and its compulsive aggrandizement of the ego. The eyes should show detachment from visual stimuli. The mouth should suggest restraint of speech. The sage hand convey absence of grasping. His face overall indicate desirelessness, and so on. This is, I think they're trying to break it down to each part of our input into our thinking process, like our sight, our touch, our feeling. If we can direct it in the proper way, that basically to avoid just desire and attachment in general. I think that's the overall paragraph of what it's trying to explain.
Yeah. So there's two things. One is this pattern, right? The Buddha encouraged people to let go of everything if they want to attain nirvana. But another side, for the lay people, nothing wrong. For you to have good positive aspiration, to build something for the goodness of community and society. And that's why the Buddha encouraged the lay people to do a more good karma for becoming human life next lifetime, or go somewhere up there. So need to understand in both ways. So sometimes it's work for someone else, sometimes it doesn't. Right? Especially in the West, no way. No way to let go of the house, no way to let go to wealth, right? To become a Buddhist monk and nun in mountain, right? So we go to middle way. Not easy, not easy to let go. But what the important is that we need to recognize the reason why we have mental fluctuation, mental affliction, stress, anxiety, and so forth. What happened if someone would not give you any tip? You get mad, right? Sometime, right? Because no, I mean that's if you serve them, but they don't give you any tip. What do you think? You get mad, or you frustrate, or what? But most of the time they know, right? Most time, 90, 80 and 90%, they give you a tip. Sometimes small, sometimes big.
Yeah, no, yeah, I have to remind myself.
What is that?
I have to remind myself about it.
That's good. That's a point. When we have any kind of, we don't have any kind of expectation, we be free. Whether people give us, help us, or harm us, this is their choice. Our choice is to maintain the peace without this expectation. That's why I used to tell my students when they go to take the test, don't expect anything. If they have the more they have the expectation, it's easy for them to stress out, to have anxiety. In interviewing and do anything, if we expect ahead of time, that's why stress comes from.
Like an example I always think of is if somebody you know, or even somebody you don't know, asks you for like $5 and you give them $5 and somebody's like, they're never gonna pay you back. I'm like, I literally don't care if they pay you back or not. It's fine.
Okay.
I don't care if that's you, man. Yeah, I know.
But it's better. Don't give them car. Give them more. Give them food.
Yeah.
Food and drink. Don't so they may misuse the cash.
That's true.
They may harm themselves. And
That's true.
yeah.
I mean more like if it's someone that I know, like a friend or family member.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I see.
But if you're really grateful for, like, let's say your tips or the things you do have, and you focus on like all the wonderful things you do have, you're gonna train your mind to see more of the things that you like versus if you think about how cheap and rude people are, guess what you're gonna see? You're gonna see more cheap and rude people. But if you are just like super grateful and meeting wonderful people, guess what? You're gonna meet wonderful people that hand you bigger that's just the way your own feedback loop works.
Yeah, I've seen a quote that people said was the Buddha, but I've never seen this in a sutra, so I don't know if it's actually the Buddha, but either way, it's a good quote. I've heard people say, there's never enough money or whatever for a person who doesn't appreciate what they already have.
Yeah.
And I think that makes sense. If you don't appreciate what you already have, it doesn't matter how much you have.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Ben, you want to read next, Ben?
Ty, I have a really bad connection on my end. I'm just gonna hold off for right now.
He's read yet? I've been read already, right? Okay, can you read please?
Okay, Nirvana. The third noble truth, that the removal of desire in turns removes suffering, provides a terse reference to the central Buddhist focus on spiritual causation. The pattern of cyclical cause and effect by which desire leads to further suffering can also be reversed and eventually controlled to enable the possibility of enlightenment or nirvana. Buddhism arose from the Buddha's own transformative experience of nirvana, and then his compassionate wish to help others realize nirvana themselves.
So get the path, right? Get the path to transform that, right? The path to transform the desire one more times. Yeah. If we tie up and down life, this is the path. If someone still enjoy it, that's okay. That's their choice. Not fair one. So depend. Yeah, depends. Sometimes this is too much. We can take one step back. Okay. let's see here. Oh, okay, here. Yeah, Sam, please, you can read the last one here.
The word nirvana itself derives from the Sanskrit word meaning cool by glowing and refers to one who has cooled the feverish glaciers, hindrances, or poisons, greed, hatred, and delusions, which create karma and bind the individual into samsara, the world of rebirth and suffering. In Buddhist texts, the realization of nirvana is often compared with the extinction of a fire. As it was understood in ancient India, an extinguished flame was released to return to a diffuse, unagitated, and eternal state. Nirvana carries similar associations, although it is most often said to be beyond all states of existence.
Hmm.
Oh, I love this. I'm gonna not talk too much, but I love words, especially Sanskrit words. And yeah, I've thought a lot about how, yeah, this is talking about, I've read in other sutras too, like, how, yeah, it describes like these cravings, these desires as being like a fire. Like imagine like a person, like imagine you're on fire, like just burning. Or, you know, even in our language, we talk about in English, like having a burning desire for this or that. Because it's like a burning, it's like a feverishness that consumes you and is painful. And nirvana is the idea of just putting that fire out, everything is calm, there's no more burning.
Yeah, in Buddhist metaphor is the example of someone that raised some kind of crime, still will lock up in the jail. But if we don't do any crime, we can come in and out freely. So there's the arhat, the one that is that transform all desire. They can come in and out anytime. But for us, when we go under the Russian, we get stuck. Yeah. So that's the whole idea then. And again, it's time to recognize, but of course, nowadays it's better to recognize that we go to the middle way to transform our stress, anxiety, and so forth. That's why people love meditation. It to calm that fire, calm the fire down. It's not easy. It takes times. Otherwise, it's not. It's like you say that AGT has happened. People cannot control themselves, whether they are adult or children or youth.
I've also heard people refer to in English with the idiom running around like your hair is on fire, your head is on fire to mean like being anxious. So yeah.
Yeah. When irritation is made destroy our life. Right? We could not, if at that moment, if we could not control ourselves, we harm ourselves and others. Like on the road, right? When you driving, someone cut off. Yeah, someone cut up, and if we could not control, we may yell, like step down, and so forth. A lot of problems occur.
You always drive on this new cut road near the temple, I'm sure, so you get cut off all the time. Like they pull out like right in front of you.
Okay, so thank you. So let's be finished here. So you'll be here for the whole week, or what?